Let me tell you something right out the gate. When the president of your HOA corners your wife in your own home and demands a DNA test for your 3-month-old son, claiming your wife's a cheater in front of a couple of board members like she's queen of the block, you realize pretty quick that suburbia can be just as cutthroat as any FBI case file. And in that moment, Linda Morrison had no idea she just crossed the wrong family because I'm Michael Henderson. Yeah, special agent badge and all. And if she thought harassing my family was just a neighborhood power play, she was about to get a crash course in federal consequences. You know what I mean? Now you got to picture the scene. Sunlight spilling through our kitchen windows, the whole place glowing gold, my wife Sarah singing to little Daniel as she spooned carrots into his chubby cheeks. Just the kind of peaceful morning that makes all the hard edges of the world soften up for a minute. That kid, he's got her green eyes, the same kind that stopped me in my tracks the first day we met. And every time I watch them together, I swear I could forget, even if just for a heartbeat, all the white-collar crooks and dirty money I had to deal with downtown. I'm talking 25 minutes left till I had to get in my government-issue sedan coffee in hand, tie barely straight heading to the field office to untangle fraud cases that would make your head spin. Sarah always said Daniel looked exactly like I did as a baby. Our neighbor, Mrs. Peterson, even brought over an old baby photo as proof, and she wasn't wrong. But I'd argue he got his best features from his mom. We'd only been in Willowbrook Gardens, our picture-perfect little neighborhood, for 6 months. Rows of tidy oaks lawns trimmed like military haircuts. Neighbors who smiled and waved, and Linda Morrison, sitting in her stone fortress at the end of the cul-de-sac, watching every move like a hawk in pearls. Linda was the self-crowned monarch of the HOA, and let me tell you, she took her responsibility more seriously than half the judges I've met in court. On our second day, she came knocking with a 3-inch thick rule book highlighted, annotated the whole 9 yards, and ran through it like she was swearing us in for the military. Garbage cans out too long, written warning. Christmas lights up past January 2nd, written warning. And every time she handed us another notice, her eyes sparkled just a little too much. So when my phone buzzed that morning, my FBI work phone, not the personal one, it was my partner Jake. Big briefing at 9, new development in the Morrison case. Don't be late. I actually froze. Morrison's a common enough name, but something about the timing made my stomach twist. I tried to brush it off, but you know how it is. Your gut's your best tool in this line of work. I kissed Sarah goodbye, told her I'd be home by 6, and headed out. The FBI building's nothing to look at, a plain government block nobody ever notices, but inside it's a different universe. White-collar crime unit was deep in a months-long investigation, and today was all about following the money through a rat's nest of Delaware shell companies and charity fronts. I was neck-deep in spreadsheets and wire transfers when my personal phone rang, a rare thing during work hours, and it only meant one thing: trouble at home. I picked up and heard Sarah's voice, shaky, almost whispering, "Mike, you need to come home. Now." "Linda Morrison's here with 2 board members," she says. "Daniel doesn't look like you, and she wants proof he's yours." I felt my pulse spike, rage hitting me like a shot of cold water. "She's demanding DNA results or she'll fine us for fraudulent family representation," Sarah said, voice cracking. "She called me a cheater, said Daniel violates community standards, and handed me an official violation notice." Let me back up a sec. This wasn't just an insult, it was the kind of intimidation that can shatter a young mom's sense of safety. Sarah's tough, but when I heard how she was shaking, saw how she clutched Daniel as I walked through the door. That was it. I hugged them both, told her not to answer the door for anyone, and got every detail out of her, every word Linda and those board goons had thrown at her. According to Sarah, Linda came with 2 others, Robert Chin and Patricia Wells, names I'd seen on the HOA board list but never cared about before, and claimed anonymous concerns from neighbors about Daniel's parentage. She said our family might be misrepresenting ourselves to the HOA. Then she accused Sarah to her face of cheating, insisted there's an HOA bylaw requiring accurate family info, and waved around some nonsense about moral character being central to the community. She even threatened to report us to the city for unmarried cohabitation, as if having a baby out of wedlock was a crime or any of her damn business. Sarah handed me the document, formal as could be HOA logo, and all demanding a paternity test in 14 days, or we'd get daily fines and maybe even get kicked out. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just HOA pettiness, this was targeted harassment. And as a federal agent, I knew exactly which laws Linda was brushing up against. That night, after Sarah and Daniel were asleep, I went into full investigative mode: public records, federal databases, court filings. Turns out Linda had a long history, sued twice in the last 5 years, both times for discrimination and harassment. Once against a Hispanic family, she hounded for excessive noise and inappropriate gatherings, just family barbecues, if you can believe it. Another time against a single mom, she hired a private investigator to follow. Both cases settled, hush money paid out, buried until someone knew where to look. HOA bylaws, not a single word about paternity tests or family composition. She'd made it all up. And here's the kicker: using HOA authority to target families for personal reasons isn't just ugly, it's illegal. Fair Housing Act, Civil Rights Act. You don't have to be a lawyer to see Linda's methods cross the line and then some. I made Sarah write everything down, every threat, every word, and I built a file thicker than her rule book. The next morning, I showed up on Linda's doorstep at 10 sharp in my best suit badge shining. She opened the door all smiles and pearls until she saw my face and my credentials. "I'm here in my official capacity as Special Agent Michael Henderson," I said, holding up the badge. "We need to talk about your harassment of my family and potential federal crimes." I've never seen a woman lose color so fast. She tried to play dumb. There must be some mistake, but I cut her off. "No mistake, Mrs. Morrison. I've read your bylaws, checked your history, and nowhere does it give you the right to demand DNA tests or threaten families based on personal prejudice. What you did was harassment, plain and simple, and it might just be a federal offense." Linda started trembling. "What do you want?" she whispered. "First, you withdraw the violation notice and apologize in writing within 24 hours. Next, you resign as HOA president in 30 days, and you stop harassing residents forever. Otherwise, you'll be answering to a federal prosecutor, not just an angry dad." She agreed. Oh, she agreed. 22 hours later, we got her letter. But I wasn't finished. Over the next 2 weeks, I dug into every aspect of her RAIN harassment: fake violation notices, misappropriated funds, kickbacks to her family, you name it. It turned out Linda had been running a criminal operation under the mask of community standards, embezzling over $200, fabricating reports, targeting anyone who didn't fit her mold. The U.S. Attorney's Office jumped on the case arrest indictment, 14 federal charges. Her mugshot made the news, her house got seized. She lost everything from her pension to her reputation. The other board members charged too. The whole rotten regime was thrown out, replaced by people who actually wanted to build a community, not tear it down. 6 months after Linda's arrest, I'm outside playing with Daniel, who's now big enough to chase bubbles across the yard. Mrs. Chin from next door comes by with her grandson. Thanks me for what I did, says they almost moved away because of Linda. And I get this moment just watching Daniel's eyes light up, thinking how close we came to losing this piece. I laugh, remembering Linda's accusations. He's got his mother's eyes, but I'll take the compliment, I tell her. That night as I tuck Daniel in, Sarah wraps her arms around me and asks what I'm thinking. I tell her I'm just grateful. Grateful bullies can't hide forever, even in the suburbs. Justice might be slow, but it usually finds the right address, especially when someone's stupid enough to pick a fight with a federal agent's family. So that's our story, a lesson for any neighborhood tyrant who thinks power is a license to bully. In the end, the only fraud in Willowbrook Gardens was the woman running the place. Daniel sleeping safe, the HOA is finally serving its community, and Linda Morrison, well, she's got all the time in the world now to reflect. Federal prisons got rules, even she can't bend. But hey, Maybe you think she was just doing her job. Maybe you side with the HOA. Either way, I want to hear what you think. Was I right to take her down, or did I go too far? Tell me, where do you draw the line between community order and outright harassment? I'll be reading the comments, folks, because some fights you just can't ignore.